on in here. Skype username is lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
Chris.
And Darryl.
Of course, you can bring up anything you want. Take control of these airways. We're talking about the disasters that are striking. One of them is Hurricane Irma, but the other one is more of a personal disaster, at least a disaster that could affect you personally as anywhere in the United States, and that is the hack of Equifax. I said credit card hack. I meant credit reporting.
Yeah. And it's not just people in the U.S.
Oh, that's right. Canada, too. Isn't
and
that right?
the U.K.
So, yeah, over 160 million, I believe, accounts were affected.
CNET says at least 143 million. And again, it could be one of these things of, there's people that they didn't realize were affected when one story came out and then another story found something else.
Yeah, and putting that in perspective, that's like half the population of the U.S. almost, right? 300 million, is it?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, it's a little more probably than 300 million now, but yes.
About 310.
310 something.
But if you figure the adult population that would have a credit report.
Good point.
Because 5-year-olds not going to have a credit report.
Correct. That's true.
Yep, they do make up a percentage of the population, too. A decent percentage.
So back to the story, though, about Irma. People are trying to get out of Florida, but according to weather.com, traveling out of Florida has become a nightmare as of Thursday, as crowded highways turned usually quick trips into day-long journeys. Mari and Neil Michaud told the AP they loaded their 2 children and dog into their small sport utility vehicle and left their home near Cocoa Beach around 10 a.m., bound for an impromptu vacation in Washington, D.C. Using a phone app and calls to search for fuel along the way, they finally arrived at a convenience store that had gasoline. Nearly 5 hours later, the 60-mile trip up I-95 should have taken 1 hour, so it took 5 times longer than it normally would. So there's your estimate for perhaps getting out of the state. If it took 10 hours to get from Miami to Georgia's line, then you might be looking at a 2 full day uninterrupted journey just to get out of the state.
Biking might be faster.
Biking might just be faster at that point. You get a little wet,
Dunker?
Though.
We could have him fly down and then test it out for us.
Dunker's a Free Talk Live listener who moved up this summer, actually early June, from Florida, so he got out way in advance, and he literally did bike all the way up the East Coast from Sebastian, Florida, all the way here to Keene, New Hampshire, where he now lives. We just had breakfast with him this morning, as a matter of fact. So, going slow there along the road in Florida, and, quote, there was no gas and it's gridlock. People are stranded on the sides of the highway. She said it's 92 degrees out and little kids are out on the grass on the side of the road. No one can help them, she says. Hotels in cities like Atlanta and further north are booked solid with people fleeing Florida. So, that's the other question. I asked you guys if you would leave if you were living in Florida. Living in South Florida, where this hurricane is expected to make landfall sometime early, likely Sunday.
This weekend.
Yeah, basically the whole weekend, because the thing is humongous. I mean, so when I say landfall, I mean the eye of the storm. It's going to be pounding Florida away for quite a while before the eye actually does hit. And so I guess my question is, if you can't really get out, is it even worth trying? I mean, unless you have a grandmother or family member who lives in, let's say, Tennessee or South Carolina or something like that, somewhere to go, you're not going to be able to get into a hotel room.
True.
So, what do you do? Sleep in the Walmart parking lot?
Time to take a trip to someplace other in some other part of the country entirely by plane.
Done that before. I've also Walmart parking lots are good. Yep. Anything that's open 24 hours a day where there's going to be some lighting.
Yep.
Is generally a safe place to stop for a nap if you're, in a position to where you have to sleep in your car. Travel Americas and Pilots, also very good because that's where the truckers stop.
Yep.
Those are if you've ever traveled on major interstates for, long distance, you've seen these. It's the big truck stop places. Those, again, there's a lot of people. It's lit 24 hours a day. You're not going to get messed with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a concern, obviously, when people are traveling. But, my main concern would be if you're going to get out, where do you go exactly? And if you are getting out, what's your plan? If you want to share it with us, our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE.
Now, before Hurricane Harvey wound up hitting Houston, I saw, because I've got friends that live all over the country, I saw some of my friends that live in North Texas posting on Facebook, if we know each other or you know a friend of mine and you live in Houston and need a place to stay, let me know. So
that's
people
cool.
are opening up their houses.
Yeah.
So it's not just, I'm going to drive and no
have
clue
to hope
where.
to find a hotel. I see what you're saying.
Drive and somebody's connecting with somebody that connects to somebody.
Right. And I guess some people were using some kind of app. I forget what it was called.
Wouldn't surprise me if Airbnb has some kind of something set up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Cell 411, there's couch surfing.
Right.
There's all kinds of
so if you're
apps
looking
to find a place to stay.
Right. If you're looking, what you're suggesting here is look outside of the traditional hotel room, right? Because there are these other decentralized room-sharing apps out there that, if the state of Florida hasn't completely crushed Airbnb out of business within that state, then presumably that's operating,
right.
and you'd be able to find something.
I've known several people that have used the couch surfing app.
Yep.
And what couch surfing is, unlike Airbnb, to where you say, I'm willing to give you X number of dollars per night for a room, or somebody says, I'm willing to let you stay for X number of dollars. Couch surfing is, I have a room, a couch, floor space, whatever, and you can come and stay. So
no charge?
There is no charge. If you charge, you get kicked off of couch surfing.
So people are just letting people live on their couch just for the hell of it?
That's
couple of nights.
Interesting. What's the incentive?
Have experience. It's generally people that do a lot of traveling themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of a pay it forward sort of thing of, hey, I'll open up my couch, and if I'm ever in your area, you open up your couch.
Aren't you more likely to get, like, let's say, a derelict kind of, not so good person if you aren't charging at least something for the couch?
I would think so.
I don't know, because again, the people that I know that have used it, they're not derelicts.
That's
they're
true.
Regular kinds of people.
Callan Diggs was using it when he was here in Keene.
Well, there was a guy that I went to high school with that he ran the marathon that happens in Keene every year. He did that a couple years ago, and he used couch surfing for a place to stay the night before the marathon.
It's what it is. It's probably there's a disproportionate number of people who are just perfectly fine people on it. So it's probably not as likely that you'll end up in that bad situation, even though it happens probably.
And again, there's ratings. So you rate the people, they rate you.
Okay, so that definitely
That's
should
helpful.
Help. Yeah.
As long as it's not their first time. Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. Whatever you want to discuss goes. It's Free Talk Live.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
Free Talk Live.
What's the difference between a stoplight and a school bus?
A stoplight is a light, and a school bus is a school bus.
Full of children.
Right. So
That's a good
the light doesn't have any kids in it.
That's what you call a derelict, educated derelict.
Yeah,
You gotta come out of Harvard.
I'm really not a derelict. I work for a
You
living.
are an educated derelict. Well,
Barbara,
you know what?
I agree with you.
Have fun, play your game.
No.
You're a
Because I'll tell you
fornicator,
what,
Mark.
When
Barbara.
you pass that next red light, I sure hope they get you good. And I
Barbara,
hope you don't kill anybody.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, she hung up on you, Mark.
But I agree with you, Barbara. I was telling you that I agree with you except for the stoplight thing.
Children, Mark, there's children around. At every red light, you could possibly kill someone.
This, by the way, gentlemen.
If you would run a red light at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic as far as the eye can see, then you would just as soon run over a school bus and kill all the kids inside.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Simbi.com is a marketplace of real people, exchanging skills and services. From web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Simbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves, bring up anything you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. You don't need money to do business on Simbi.com. It's a slick and easy-to-use marketplace where you can trade your talents for other people's services and abilities. You can forget the old economy. This is your economy. It's Simbi.com. You won't believe the diversity of services available at Simbi.com. Hundreds of thousands of people are acting within the symbiotic economy. So go get your free account over at Simbi.com. Take a look around and post your services, SIMBI, Simbi.com. It's Ian with you here tonight.
Chris.
And Darryl.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts. The only place in the world being affected by terrible things is not Florida. There are other places where people are encountering some bad life circumstances, and Sierra Leone is one of those places. Mustafa is on the line calling us from... I think it's tomorrow where you are. What time is it there in Sierra Leone? Do we have Mustafa? Mustafa, are you there? Well, he's connected, so I don't know what's going on. Sometimes the internet connection between here and there can be a little bit janky as well. So we'll see if we can...
and he may have had to step away for a second.
He may have. We'll see if we can get him back here in a moment. I know he wanted to talk about, I guess, people being sick in Sierra Leone. So we'll see if we can get more details about that. You can share your thoughts with us. We were kind of talking about the experience that people are having trying to leave Florida. Look, if you're trying to leave now, you're probably too late at this point. Like if you're in Miami and you're just kind of packing up the the van or whatever to get out of town, good luck getting out of there by the time, the storm actually really starts to
Right,
in.
and one of the things, and there's always going to be the person that says, well, why didn't they just leave sooner? Well, with this storm especially, and hurricanes in general, it's hard to pinpoint exactly where it's going to hit. It's hard to pinpoint exactly how much rain is going to fall. And then you have life that happens. Because maybe somebody can't wind up leaving on Wednesday when they wanted to. Maybe they had to wait until Friday because they had to wait on that paycheck.
Or, what if they got a job?
Maybe they couldn't wind up taking days off.
Right.
Maybe, there's a whole bunch of maybes that you can't always work around.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody from the Northeast. They just don't understand.
Right, but still, people in the Northeast have weather conditions that they have to deal with too.
Not as frequent though, and not as dramatic.
Do any of them have? I know Mark was making a big deal about winter the other night on Free Talk Live. Like, winter's a natural disaster. But does anybody ever evacuate because of winter, or the things that happen in the Northeast?
But it's not
really evacuate per se.
Why would you need to evacuate?
Hold on.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you do.
Right.
Hold on. There are the snowbirds that just leave in November
that
because
that definitely doesn't count.
They know snow is coming.
Right.
They don't want to be around snow, so they leave. That technically counts as an evacuation for a period of time to avoid a weather situation.
Really? Because their life is not in danger by staying.
It's not the same thing.
I never said their life was in danger, but sometimes it is, because if you get one of these really heavy snows that knocks down power lines, and power's out for a week, and you don't have
if you don't have anywhere to go,
if
you don't, or somewhere else to go, somebody's house who still has electricity or gas or whatever, then you will freeze to death in your home.
But
nobody evacuates ahead of a nor'easter.
Some people do.
Okay.
But also, it's easier to shovel snow than it is to shovel floodwater.
Right.
That's true.
Exactly.
So, there are completely different ways to handle things, but people in the Northeast seem to think, by and large, and I know there might be somebody that lives in the Northeast, I'm not talking to that one guy, but, by and large, people in the Northeast tend to think that the world revolves around the Northeast, to where,
people think that
we
everywhere.
deal with snow, and so therefore, no, it's not everywhere.
People believe that generally. I mean, that's just a people thing, man. People think that it's all about them.
Yeah.
And it is in their life.
I think you're right, Ian.
I don't know.
People are very self-centered.
I've lived all over the country, and it
feel like it's different
to be
here?
more of a Northeastern thing.
And what's the attitude? Can you describe it again?
The world revolves around their part of the, the world revolves around them.
I think I understand where he's kind of coming from there, and he's probably right.
So, when it snows very infrequently in the South, people in the Northeast are like, it's just 6 inches of snow. I shovel that before I eat my Fruity Pebbles on a Sunday in June. Just suck it up and deal with it.
I'm sorry. I think that same attitude would come out of people from South Florida or whatever. If a hurricane's going up...
South Florida is mostly New England because so many people move there from the Northeast.
All right. Well,
but, in Alabama, nobody's like, it's just a tornado. We deal with those all the time before I milk the cows.
There's something to be said about people in the Northeast not being as friendly, I think, even though the people in the Northeast are probably more friendly than other.
I don't agree. People are far more friendly. At least here in New Hampshire, I've found people are far more friendly than where I was in the South. I'm more likely, if I'm walking down a street or if I'm in a grocery store or something like that, when I'm dealing with people who I don't know, I'm much more likely to make eye contact, smile, say hello, and even exchange, pleasantries with people in various different places. I'll have people come up to me and just ask me questions about stuff in grocery stores that they don't think I work there or anything like that. They're just having a conversation with a neighbor who's shopping somewhere. They don't know who I am. So it's interesting. That was something I noticed very quickly when I moved up here. Now other people have had the opposite experience. So obviously your
you know what it is.
Mileage may vary.
It's where it depends on where you live. I think it still generally applies to the Northeast, but if you look at the cities, it's definitely more populated areas.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If you look more at the towns, and I've lived in towns in the Northeast.
So like people in Boston will behave differently, for instance.
Yeah, and if you look at the towns, I think even the towns, you don't necessarily have that same kind of communication with your neighbor that you do in other parts of the country. And it's not to say that I think my experience from what I've been told about people who've lived elsewhere, like in Berlin, for example.
Berlin, New Hampshire?
No, Berlin, Germany, actually.
Okay.
The people in the Northeast, at least in the towns, were a lot more friendly.
People in the Northeast of the United States compared to Germany.
In towns, yeah.
Towns.
More in the, not in the cities, but so, and I probably suspect that that's probably true even for the cities.
Just because they're smaller cities?
No, not necessarily because they're smaller cities. Just because the Northeast is kind of laid back to a degree.
Some people say the Northeast is stuck up.
Well, okay, it depends on who you compare it to. I mean, if you're comparing to, say, like, I don't know, Britain, right? I mean, you want to talk about stuck up, Britain, that's Britain.
Is that right? I've never been there.
Well, that's...
Nor have I. But I've watched enough
it's a stereotype of
British
Britain.
YouTube stuff to where I know, they're kind of stuck up.
All right, so more coming up here, your calls and thoughts. Let's go to David. He's calling from our very own Keene, New Hampshire. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, Mr. Freeman and
David.
company. This
Crawford
is my query today. Mr. Cantwell,
he's not on the show.
Et cetera, et cetera. Do you ever be concerned or worried that your, I don't know the word, I will say, I don't know what word to use. It's on Free Keene. It's talked about on Free Talk Live. Do you ever concern yourself that maybe you're proliferating racism by having him as something?
No, of course not.
Being a proponent of him, maybe that's not the right word.
No.
Tell me.
Where'd you get that idea?
Yeah. Okay. So if you want, you can hang on, David. We can bring you back to talk about it. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. No, by putting Christopher Cantwell on the air is in no way an endorsement or promotion of racism, especially because we debunk the ideas anytime Cantwell brings them up. There's more coming up, though. Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews, here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are invited to dial toll-free, take control of the airwaves, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. People trying to desperately to escape from Florida. Traffic's backed up. I guess it was what was supposed to be an hour-long journey for one family took 5 hours. And that's just the beginning leg of their journey. That was just to go and get the gas before they hit the road, basically. With you in the studio here tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
We can continue to discuss that disaster. And also, we haven't even gotten into the story about the 100+ million pieces of private information that may have been hacked at the credit union Equifax. We'll tell you about that on the way here tonight. But we're going back to your calls and thoughts. I do want to let you know about Dash. It's digital cash. If you want to help build a better financial system for everyone, join Dash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private and easy. Its fees are low and transactions are quick. It can even be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized and run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the Dash network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. You can take back control over your financial future today. So find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now. Go to dash.org and find out why. As we continue, we'll take your calls. David in Keene, New Hampshire, had called in asking us about Christopher Cantwell, who's a former host here on Free Talk Live. Then he revealed that he was a racist, and we kicked him off the air. And David, are you with us there, David?
I'm here.
Okay, and you were calling to ask if we thought that putting Chris on the air, because we've had him on from jail recently, as of last weekend, he called in to update us on what was going on with him. And then prior to that, after the Charlottesville controversy that first kind of rocketed him into international infamy. So we've had him on to kind of talk about this stuff, but more specifically what's been happening to him rather than his racist beliefs. But either way, even if Chris does bring up his racism, then we always bat it right down and we point out that racism is a terrible idea and that we need to look at people individually. You all right there?
Oh, I didn't know I was like within mic range.
Yeah.
Sorry I was stretching.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
Sounded like
Thought you
something
might
else.
be indisposed at the moment and it was coming out sideways.
Sorry.
Because I've had that happen before.
You've been on the radio making funny noises?
No, I've had one come out sideways.
Okay, gotcha. So David, go ahead.
My concern is, don't you think that, you could say bad things about him. He's not a nice guy.
He's not a
but
nice
he
man.
says himself, and you have often said, bad press is good press. And maybe did it ever think to you that this, being on Free Keen, being on the radio, will proliferate more than him more than it will discourage people.
I think there's very little that I can do with my media platforms, which are not the largest in the world.
You have 150 radio stations, right?
Yeah, 170 thereabouts, but not all of them carry not all of them carry every moment of the show all week long. But regardless, Free Talk Live's footprint is relatively minimal. But even if it wasn't, even if we were, the number one show in the United States, again, to me, the ideas of liberty are so strong, and the idea of individualism and freedom and peace, that these ideas are so good, they're so strong that any amount of claptrap like racism is not going to stand up to them. So I'm not worried about having a discussion about those matters, and I'm also not worried about promoting Christopher Cantwell, because ultimately what's happening to Chris is not okay. They're basically keeping him as a political prisoner there in Virginia.
See, that's you upping him.
No, it's not.
It's me pointing out. It's me pointing out what is not just my opinion, but a number of people who are Chris's critics have looked at his situation. Like some of his harshest critics, Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends, for instance, James Davis, who's a regular supporter of Free Talk Live and a caller, and one of the bloggers at Free Keen.
Has he even said anything like racist on the air?
Oh, quite a bit.
Okay.
Chris is a racist.
No, I mean on Free Talk Live.
Oh yes, when he's called into the show, of course.
Okay.
That's his personality. So like pretty much anytime you talk to Chris, he's going to put some sort of racist claptrap out there.
I listened to the show afterward when he called in the other week, and I don't recall really hearing like being racist. It was mostly about
when we kept it to just his like jail situation. He kept most of the racist stuff out of that. But generally, if you talk to Chris for more than 10 minutes, you're going to hear something racist.
I've talked to him before in person and a few times, but I don't really ever recall him ever. I know on his own show he does, but I don't know. Like to say you're promoting it, Free Talk Live is promoting it, just seems to be a bit of a stretch.
Darryl, did you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I want to clarify something on the political prisoner statement.
Yeah.
The people, especially his critics, they're not saying that the charges against him are politically motivated.
No.
They're pointing out that the lack of bail because of things that he has said is politically motivated.
Right, and they're also not pointing out, the people who are even his critics, they're not taking a position on whether or not Chris was, or maybe some of them are, but generally they're going to allow the justice system, as bad as it might be, to come up with a decision here as far as did Chris attack somebody or was he attacked?
He wasn't charged with attacking someone. He was charged with using pepper spray in violation of Virginia law.
So just having pepper spray violates the Virginia law?
I don't think having it violates the law, but using it
even in self-defense violates the law.
I read the statute.
All
right, thanks, David. Thanks for the call.
I read the statute, and the statute does not say anything about assault, aggression, defense, any of that. Just using it.
They've got him then.
Is there not maybe another law that makes it a defense?
I don't know.
Or would it be in the
neither
same
of us
law?
are
I've not
familiar.
read all of the Virginia statutes, but I've read the statute that he was charged with violating.
Right, but see, I would think there's so many laws that get passed.
Yes, there are so many laws.
Virginia's a police state. It's one of the worst.
It wouldn't surprise me. Okay, maybe not Virginia, but I wouldn't be surprised if in other states they had a separate body of legislation that
it could be.
But
I don't know.
But even still, and I've used this example for other people, there are some cities where it is a violation of city ordinance to discharge a firearm in the city. Doesn't matter if somebody breaks into your house and then you shoot them.
You violated the ordinance.
You violated the ordinance. You're not going to be charged with, manslaughter or, whatever other thing, but you would be charged with violating the ordinance.
It would seem to me like it would still be a defense, regardless of whether or not there's a law explicitly making it a defense, right? Like,
you could try using it as a defense.
I don't know. You tell me what you think.
Just like, and let's use the jaywalking thing, because that's something you're charged with. If you're being chased by bears, and you run across the street when it doesn't say cross, you've technically violated the jaywalking ordinance. You could use the excuse, I was running from bears, and
potentially
a judge might wind up saying, well, that's reasonable, dismiss.
That could happen,
but the statute itself does not have any kind of exemption for self-defense.
I mean, you could be right, Chris, on that speculation, but I mean, Darryl's the one who has actually read the statute in question. And so, regardless, though, even if he did.
The law is not logical, right? So it doesn't, just because we would think that it shouldn't be the case because it's not right or moral or ethical or whatever, doesn't mean that the law is going to, see it the same way or
But regardless, the process, whether or not he violated the law, and as far as pepper spray is concerned, we know he had it. It was on video. He's admitted to that.
Yes.
But as far as the process goes, he's still innocent until proven guilty.
Correct.
And anybody else who's been charged with assault or something like that, anybody else who's gotten into a brutal fight is going to be given bail conditions in almost every circumstance, unless they have a particularly violent criminal history. And Chris does not have that.
Or if they live in another state and they're considered a flight risk.
And isn't that what Chris said? He said the first judge wasn't having any of it. Because
That's correct.
He did get bail initially.
He was given a $25,000 bail, and then later in the same day,
which is also excessive.
They appealed it. Well, I don't know. We'd have to compare.
$25,000 is not that really. That's not a lot when you're charged with 3 felonies.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 felonies. It could cost him 60 years.
It still seems like a lot to me.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not cheap, obviously, but a lot is generally considered $500,000 or $1 million or more, I think. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything you want. This is Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is on the way. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT NoGov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to bipcot.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $18.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,350 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,618. Antiwar.com reports despite Russian opposition already having effectively killed the chances of a total oil ban on North Korea being enforced, the U.S. is still pushing the plan at the UN Security Council. It's not just a ban, however. The U.S. wants permission to militarily enforce it. The resolution includes broad language allowing the U.S. Navy and Air Force to capture and board North Korean ships at sea and to use all necessary measures to force them to reveal if they are complying with the ban. U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley is looking for a vote by Monday, though it seems like any language within the resolution about interdiction of North Korean ships is likely to be removed at the behest of both China and Russia if the resolution is to survive at all. China is said to be interested in showing that they are cooperating with the U.S. on some sort of UN resolution, though Russia has been frank about opposing more sanctions. Either way, the U.S. goal seems to be leaving at least some of the language about the interdiction within and then treating that as permission. The resolution is more than just a way to try to enforce an unenforceable embargo. The U.S. plan is to militarily board North Korean ships, and officials are conceding that's almost certainly a recipe for military confrontation. The Treasury Department warned on Wednesday that if the UN action is blocked, the U.S. might go through with imposing a ban on all U.S. trade with dozens of nations that trade with North Korea. Such a move would have disastrous economic consequences worldwide. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports with Hurricane Irma just a couple of days out, Florida's 20 million residents are hitting highways out of town, and those who aren't leaving are searching for supplies to hunker down. State's residents are bracing for the strongest storm since Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 storm, struck South Florida in 1992. Andrew caused $47.8 billion in damage and killed 65 people. Irma is forecast to diminish to a Category 4 storm with sustained winds between 130 to 156 miles per hour when it possibly reaches Florida around 8 a.m. on Sunday, though tropical force winds are forecast to arrive Saturday. Governor Rick Scott said Thursday that Irma is much worse and much more devastating on its current path than Andrew. Scott said during a briefing on Thursday, Andrew did not have storm surge, but this storm does. This can kill you. The National Hurricane Center issued a storm surge watch and hurricane watch for South Florida, stretching from the Jupiter Inlet south around the peninsula's southern tip to Bonita Beach on the Gulf Coast. The Florida Keys are also included in both watches. After the watch was posted, Governor Scott called up 3,000 additional members of the Florida National Guard. Another 1,000 members were called up earlier in the week, and the remaining 3,000 must report to duty on Friday. Mandatory evacuations have already been issued in coastal areas of South Florida, including the Florida Keys, and more than 650,000 Miami-Dade residents on barrier islands, including Miami Beach and in low-lying mainland areas. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a federal appeals court on Thursday rejected the Trump administration's efforts to temporarily bar most refugees from entering the country, ruling that those who have relationships with a resettlement agency should be exempt from an executive order banning refugees. A three-judge 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals panel also ruled that grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents should be exempted from President Donald Trump's order, which banned travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The ruling is the latest legal blow to the president's sweeping executive order barring travelers from Iran, Syria, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen for 90 days, which Trump said was necessary for national security. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Could dropping bombs on Afghans without warning from terrifying robot airplanes that fly themselves actually hurt America's efforts to stabilize Afghanistan?
It's complicated. No, not at all. Actually, I think we need to stay the course. You don't change horses midstream, and you don't stop firing missiles from unseen death droids soaring high above the clouds just because a couple of schools get blown up.
We have got to find another way to obliterate this population.
What about flaming bulldozers or 50-foot-tall tanks?
Let's do what we can for these civilians. I mean, why not name the drones Billy or Steve to make them seem less dispassionate?
Oh, that is a terrible idea. Billy is a horrible name for a drone.
They're now developing a 40-foot robot that actually looks more like an American soldier and also sprays lasers out of his eyes.
Well, at least that's a step forward.
Hey, look, as long as it fires missiles and bombs with very little accuracy and 0 Americans are at threat, I'm all for it.
Good point.
They should give it funny, floppy arms.
Yes.
Oh, it should spray candy out of its chest a few minutes before it starts shooting everything.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Coming up, the Equifax hack. Over 140 million people's private information, or what they thought was private information, is now in the hands of some hack group somewhere, which means it could be in who knows how many people's hands at this point.
Not mine.
We'll talk about that coming up here tonight. Your calls and thoughts, though, are welcome. You can bring up anything. Obviously, people trying to escape from Florida in the path of Hurricane Irma, which is bearing down this weekend. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Also, I do want you to know about freetalklive.com. Be sure you head on over there and get interactive. All the features on our site are completely free. So once again, go to freetalklive.com. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, let's go to Tom. He's in Baltimore. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Well, at least I feel a little bit better about saying last week that I hadn't heard Chris Cantwell spout racist words. But, of course, after seeing his interviews, clearly I was wrong about that. But the other caller who doesn't like him, who preceded me, even he said that he hadn't really heard him really talk about
No, that was a different person. No, you're confusing our caller with, I think, Chris, who's in the studio here tonight.
Oh, okay.
Not Cantwell.
Normally, listen, I'm not
Chris Wade from ThinkPenguin.com.
Yes, I'm not a racist.
Not to be confused with Chris Cantwell or Thursday Chris.
Correct.
Yes, right.
We have two Chris's who are co-hosts, and neither of them are Chris Cantwell.
Yep.
Right. No, I know who Chris Cantwell is.
We're letting our other listeners know. Because you're not the only one who's listening.
I thought somebody on the last call during that conversation said that they hadn't particularly heard him spout
that was Chris Wade, who's in our studio.
It's kind of important because he has been on the show, and he's also called in recently. So
yeah,
right, yeah. He normally is pretty reserved.
No, he's not.
What I meant when I was talking about having not heard him spout really obnoxious racist views was I've heard him say things that I know would upset some people. He makes reference to the bell curve. But as far as really being incendiary on air, now you fellows know him personally, so
and he tones it down a little bit when he's on with us. He'll put his racism in terms that are more understandable by libertarians, for instance. He's communicating to a different audience when he's on Free Talk Live than when he's doing his own show.
Uses words that could be considered dog whistles to where people that know the hidden meaning behind what he's saying hear the hidden meaning, and everybody else is like, I didn't really catch what he was saying.
But he's not cloaking his racism when he's on the air on Free Talk Live. Generally, if he didn't express it while he was on the jail,
you're talking about more recently, right?
I'm talking about within the last year or so that he has been a racist.
Right.
He, maybe almost 2 years at this point.
I'd say about 5.
No, we only kicked him off. We only kicked him off of Free Talk Live like 2 years ago.
Oh, I know you only kicked him off of Free Talk Live a couple of years ago, but
you think he's been a racist for 5 years
or longer?
Why? What's the evidence for that?
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples, and it's not necessarily evident, it's not proof, but some examples. When Michael Brown wound up getting killed in Ferguson, he was coming up with all of these reasons why it was okay.
That wasn't 5 years ago.
That was maybe 4, almost 5. The Trayvon Martin thing was, I think, the year before that, and he was coming up with all of these excuses for
Shooting
why
Michael
it was
Brown
okay.
3 years ago.
Okay.
But you're right. That was the time at which he was sort of, I would say, transitioning. He had been anti-cop Chris for a while. That was kind of his bag when he moved here to New Hampshire originally. And then he had some experiences that kind of changed how he felt about the police. That I thought was a good thing for him. Like, he was able to connect with the police as human beings, but he basically eliminated any kind of critique eventually of police violence. And it did seem like he was directing it towards blacks generally. So I agree with you there, Darryl. But his actual racism did not come into view until probably shortly thereafter the Michael Brown thing, is somewhere in that time frame. But
here's what I wanted to comment on. One of you said that you didn't think he was a political prisoner. I absolutely think he was a political prisoner.
I'm pretty sure everyone in the studio said he's a political prisoner.
Right. No, what I said was the people that are saying he's a political prisoner are not saying that the charges against him are necessarily trumped up. They're saying that the denial of bail is what makes him a political prisoner.
Based on the words he said.
The charges alone make him a political prisoner, and nobody else would have been charged with what he was charged with. Let's face it, he was charged the way he was, and he's being treated the way he is because his views are unpopular. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't associate what I'm telling you with agreement with him. What I'm saying, though, is certainly he's being treated differently. Justice is not blind. In fact, the goofball district attorney, Robert Tracy, I don't know how you pronounce it, of the Commonwealth, has been quoted before that, in his position, he must not be political. He must treat all the people that he deals with in his job the very same way, regardless of where they live, what kind of income they make, what their
I
race is,
think
what their
the reason
education is, and he's doing everything opposite of what he's claimed in the past. He's a liar, and it's clear to anyone who's really
he's a politician. Of course, he's a liar.
And you're by the way, for listeners that don't know, you're a former cop out of Baltimore. So you're a former cop saying you believe the charges themselves are politically motivated.
I think that
they are outrageous. If they were so bad, they would have arrested him on the spot. They had to wait. Actually, and again, this goes to what I'm talking about.
Well, the police may not have been there on the spot. Just to clarify,
right, there are reports that the police weren't there, which is why the fighting broke out.
Correct.
But
he wasn't the only one who was missing.
There were no charges until people saw his interviews and came forward and decided to swear out complaints. And you can do that in the state of Maryland. I guess you can do it in Virginia as well. And decided because he was such an ugly person in their view. And by the way, he's also talking ugly things to many people. He's doing things like exercising his right to bear arms. And let's face it, that's unpopular these days. He's doing everything to make him what people in law enforcement who I don't agree with would call a Charlie, referring to Charlie Manson. That means that you really don't have to do anything except espouse ugly views, and guess what? You're going to jail probably for the rest of your life. And people pursue that, and they do it.
Do you think that's going to happen here, Tom? Because some people have speculated that all the state of Virginia really wants out of this is to make him into a felon, not necessarily to lock him up for all 60 years that he could be facing.
Well, I thought he was facing 20, but let's face it.
He says they upgraded the felony counts.
That's as good as life.
He said on the interview where he called us from his jail cell that they've upgraded the felony counts to more serious felonies, and now it's potential 60 years.
He carried some pepper spray or mace, and he protected himself from what I hear. I saw people that are really using things that would be a federal crime as flamethrowers. I don't know what's happened to them. The one guy I saw on television with Don Lemon, and he was acting as though he was just an innocent lamb. He said, I didn't even come there with any other intent but to tell them that I just thought they were wrong and that they just think differently. Where'd you get the mace, or where'd you get the paint can, Don asked. And he said, oh, they threw it at my head. And Don didn't follow up like he should have and said, oh, by the way, where'd you get the lighter? Are you a smoker? Because I don't believe for 1 minute that he did not come there with that paint can and with a lighter to use it exactly the way he did, regardless of where he got it, though.
I'm not familiar. I saw like a still photo of what you're referring to, I think. Some guy using some kind of aerosol can as a flamethrower, but I'm not familiar with the circumstances around those allegations. Hey, Tom,
I want to ask you guys a question. Before I hang up.
Yeah.
You guys know him very well, and I'm just wondering, with the way you know him, do you think that he would have gone down there and really been in people's faces, other than spouting, what many people would view as ugly and incendiary things, in a crowd like anyone would chant or sing? Do you think he would be in people's faces really starting fights? I'm just curious to know that.
I don't believe Chris would have tried to start a fight personally. Thank you for the call tonight, Tom. There's more coming up here. 855 450
meth is a hell of a drug.
Free.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite,
oh no, I've got a couple more scoops.
it's time to place my order. Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite. Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small. It's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. Just head on over here to go to freetalklive.com. You can tune into the show there. But if you want to Skype us, you can Skype in at Skype username LRN.FM.
Are you eating 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day? If you said no, well, you've got company, because only about 10% of people actually are. And here's more bad news. A preponderance of research shows that you really need about 10 servings a day, and only about 1% of the population does that. That's nearly a gallon of fruits and vegetables in their raw form every day. What's the prize for accomplishing this feat? Protection against obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, plus enough antioxidants to neutralize all 5 of the known free radicals. Worthy goals, right? Well, I'm going to tell you a way that you can get all of your servings, and I'm doing it myself, but I'm not sitting down eating a gallon. I don't have a gallon bucket over here that I'm nibbling out of during the breaks. What I'm doing is I'm putting fruit and veggie total in my smoothies. You don't have to put it in a smoothie. You can just mix it with whatever, and they'll actually give you a free shaker bottle when you go to simplifymysupplements.com and use code FTL. You also save 10%. Fruit and veggie total, made from the same people that make Whole Food Multi-Complete. So join me in this goal of eating better, losing weight, living longer, and feeling better. Again, go to simplifymysupplements.com. Get some fruit and veggie total. Use coupon code FTL. Save 10%. And again, they give you that free shaker bottle. Simplifymysupplements.com. Code FTL.
Let's go to Thomas. He's on the line also in Keene, New Hampshire. Hello, Thomas.
Good evening, Ian. How you guys doing?
Hey, is this Thomas Parisi from the jail paper?
Yes, and I did send you over some photos. Last week we had gone to Chesterfield, which is a budding municipality where they had a DUI checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And they towed a couple cars away. Well, today I popped out, right over here on Main Street in downtown Keene, and all of a sudden I saw this big bus, and this big bus was like in the state of New Hampshire, they have this quasi-state police agency, which is liquor enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And with their big bus, they had 2 or 3 cars, and I sent you one of the pictures, but they picked off, 2 of these kids that I guess were just driving down the street, going around the roundabout to go up Main Street, and pulled 2 of these kids out of the cars and just, drug them away to God knows where. But I think when we were discussing it, when I did my interview with you, the legality of these checkpoints in the state of New Hampshire was denied, I believe, in 1985 by the New Hampshire Supreme Court. And after much, debating and all this stuff, in 2007, following kind of like the federal rule of thumb, they instituted it. But, God knows, these are not really, they're technically not even police officers. They're what's referred to in the police manual, New Hampshire law enforcement manual, is they're ex officio constables. So
they call them in the business liquor dicks.
Yes, liquor dicks, yes.
That's what the other cops call the liquor enforcement cops. They got their little pet name for them. And so what you're saying is you showed me some of the pictures you sent me on Facebook. It looks like they've got like a big old RV, some kind of mobile command center that they've moved into Keene for the night.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's about 50 feet long. It's huge. It's like basically that's where your tax dollars have been going to pay for that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a recent transplant, so I have it. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I suspect they're going to be using it to target college students tonight. Would be my guess. It's party night.
Probably, and then they're probably also going to go after some of the bars.
The bars, right? They'll send their undercovers in there
because there was something that happened a couple of years ago at one of the places that we used to have social Sundays in this town until they wound up shutting down.
The dude retired, but yeah.
Well, yeah, he sold the place.
Yeah.
That business shut down.
Correct.
And then we weren't able to have social Sunday there because it's no longer a business.
Correct.
But before that happened, there was one day where some of the liquor enforcers were walking around. Was on a pub crawl day, I believe. Some girl walks out of the bar. She stumbles. Liquor enforcer says, "Are you drunk?" "Yeah, I'm drunk." And drunk girl walks out of a bar.
That's
says
illegal.
She's drunk. It's illegal to serve alcohol to a drunk person. Everybody was on staff said, "I did not serve that girl," but they still wound up losing their license for 3 days.
That's right. Yeah, they shut them down temporarily.
That's a big deal, though. If you're a business owner and you're put out of business even for a day or so.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But where they've kind of situated themselves, Jim, and you're familiar with the geography, is at St. Bernard's. And St. Bernard's is right next to, bars like Cobblestone and the Lab. And
so
it's right in the heart of downtown.
Across from the post office.
It's right. Nobody knows where that is if they're not in Keene, but it's in the heart of downtown. Let me explain for people that don't live here. It's in the heart of downtown Keene, and it borders the college neighborhood. So every street next to that church is the four or five or six, however many streets are sort of parallel to it. That's the college neighborhood. It's right next door to the college. So it seems like if that's where they're setting up a command center, they're definitely going to be targeting
right on
drinking.
Main Street.
Yeah, and this is like, the second weekend of school. And another thing is, there's, basically so many kids out, they're going to act wild and party, and they're just going to post up there until, come, 12 o'clock, 1:30, and, just snag anybody they see, because basically, if you're under 21 and you're drinking, they're going to arrest you. And these kids, and I did notice this when I was reading it, is that these DUI checkpoints and also the, what they fall under, like the liquor enforcement, is that they can't do any other kind of searches, which I'm sure that they do, but if they're not checking people for alcohol, they can't ask you like, "Oh, hey, do you have a weapon?" Or do like a Terry search where like they pat you down for weapons or any of this stuff. But I saw them do it to a kid, and then right after that, because I was about 300 feet away from where I was taking my pictures from, kid went right into the car, and then the girl I was with him, she was going in the car too, and then they just drove off.
Now, it makes me wonder whether or not the liquor police are going to wind up handing out open container citations.
Is that a state law or city ordinance?
I believe that's a municipal ordinance.
Then I don't think they could they?
They're operating within the municipality. That's a question you would have to ask the Keene chief.
I wonder about that.
Well, what they could do is they could simply detain the subject until, city cops came up. Because
and then they could witness it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Most states, they can't enforce it, but what they'll do is just wait till, Keene City Police come, and if the person's belligerent,
and
they'll just hit him with a public intox.
Police departments maybe quarter mile down the road.
Oh, they're working. I'm sure they probably have a Keene officer on staff who's just going to write tickets all night. If they can't write the ticket, they'll just be like, "Officer so-and-so, I saw this man with an open container." All right, here, we'll just write that up. Thomas, if you want to hang on, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I appreciate the call. It's up to you. We can talk more.
I'll hang on for the commercial break.
Stand by. We'll talk more because he did mention that we went out to do a DUI checkpoint. And I don't think we've really talked about that yet since that occurred. And now that you're here, Chris Wade, you were out there with us, so we can all talk about how that went out here in Cheshire County, New Hampshire, where it hasn't happened in basically half a decade. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
My husband says, "You are what you eat." Not true, dear. I did my research. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So I didn't feel the vitamins and supplements I was taking were effective. I didn't feel any different. Then I switched to Protivite, a liquid multivitamin, mineral, and phytonutrient complex. And wow, you've got to see the video at truehealthfacts.com. That's truehealthfacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protivite is nutrition you can feel. Protivite is nutrition that gets in.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can dial in toll-free to bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Also, do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. You head on over there. You want to learn more about Bitcoin, the world's first and most successful decentralized cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com is a great place to do it. In fact, we just got a bunch of cool giveaway stuff from Bitcoin.com. Not like worth that much that we're going to do an on-air giveaway, like pens and wristbands and stuff like that. But you're going to be going to the Free Coast Festival this weekend,
I
Darryl.
am, yes.
And
leaving bright and early in the morning.
You're going to have a bunch of the Bitcoin.com swag with you to give away to anybody who might happen to be at that event. It's a great event to kind of check out the seacoast of New
Plus,
Hampshire.
dropping some off at the Free State Bitcoin shop.
Oh, I'm so jealous that you get to check out the Free State Bitcoin shop. I haven't gone there
I'm not going to
yet.
have much time.
Yeah, you're just going to drop in and drop out.
Right, because there's events that are happening until about 2.
Right.
And then there's a cruise that's happening, and I've got like an hour and a half to get to the cruise place, and it's about a half-hour drive from where the other stuff is, plus stop at the Bitcoin shop, so I'm not going to have much time.
Is this the grand opening?
No, that's next week.
That's next week. Okay.
So you're talking about the grand
15th,
opening
right?
of the Bitcoin shop,
That's
which
the
is the
same-
17th of that's a Sunday. And so what's happening this weekend in Portsmouth, New Hampshire
Wait,
is
that's
the
17th,
Free Coast
not
Festival.
the 15th?
The 15th
would be
is
a
a Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
So-
grand opening is the 17th, which is
right.
2
So that's a
days
few days
after the
later.
15th.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So the grand opening will be coinciding also with the 5-year anniversary screening of Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which will be happening at the Seacoast Repertory
I
Theater.
thought that was on the 15th.
Nope, I'm telling you, it's the 17th.
Okay, I have it on the. I'm pretty
the
sure I
one
have it on the calendar.
Who's
as the
helping
15th.
organize
That's
it?
why I'm wondering here.
Update your calendar tonight.
I think I do have some wrong dates on it though. So
okay, because you were saying that you couldn't go because your family's going to be in town. Was that because you thought it was going to be on the 15th?
And
so
actually,
maybe you can go.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe.
do our
It might be
planning
better.
off the air. This is not plan Chris's schedule.
Well, I want as many people as
live.
possible to go.
Yeah,
if you're going
yeah.
to be in New England, you should join us.
I'm gonna try and make it
on the
so.
17th, which Darryl, you're coming out.
Yes.
For it. I don't know if Thomas is coming from Keene, but we're going to have carpools going out there. If you haven't seen Victimless Crime Spree, it's a great excuse to do it, and you get to check out the Bitcoin shop all on the same day.
Or if you haven't seen it on the big screen, or maybe you have seen
Which
it
most
on the
people
big
haven't.
screen,
It's well
and
worth-
you want to see it again and hang out with people.
It's well worth watching twice. It's the best movie I have ever seen.
It's a great film.
hands down.
And the film itself, the low price of free.
That's right. If you first come, first serve. So if you're there, I don't expect it's going to fill up, but I suppose it could. Derek J is promoting it around town via posters, so we should have people who show up that have never seen the movie before.
So my plan is go out with you and Mark that morning.
Yep.
Hang out at the Bitcoin shop for a little bit. There's a gym about 2 miles away, so then I'm going to go work out, shower, change clothes, and then camp out in front of the movie theater.
That's awesome.
That'll be fun. Bitcoin.com. You want to learn more about Bitcoin, that's the place to do it. You can do Bitcoin mining there as well at pool.bitcoin.com, so check that out. And then again, just to learn about Bitcoin, go to bitcoin.com. Thomas Parisi is with us here from the Jail Paper. It's kind of a courtroom crime blog here in Keene. And Thomas, you came out with Chris and I, Chris Wade, who's in the studio with me here tonight. You came out with us and a fairly decent group of folks, some of whom had come all the way over from Manchester, but the majority of
Would
whom
we
were
have
from,
like 8 or 9 people?
I would say at least 8, if not 9, 10 people.
Yeah, it might have been more than that.
I think it was about 9 or 10.
Yeah, we had like 2 or 3 cars worth of people.
And anyway, Thomas, that was your first time. Was that your first time going out to interdict? I guess you weren't there technically to interdict. You were there as a journalist, but was it your first time experiencing that?
It was my first time observing as a journalist the interdiction of a DUI checkpoint.
Right, and this happens a lot out in Manchester, where they've got a bunch more libertarian activists out there than we have here in the Keene area. So they have regularly dozens of people.
There's lots of opportunities to go out and see these checkpoints
in Manchester.
In New Hampshire in general.
But it seems like
Manchester
most
has
of them
a
happen
lot of
in
checkpoints.
Manchester, as far as like disproportionately to the rest of the state.
And in and around Manchester too, they have them more frequently, I think, than this area.
Well, it's a more populated area, but I was surprised that they haven't had one out here since 2012, at least in the Cheshire County area, which is where we live. This is the southwestern county in New Hampshire. We did interdict the one they had in 2012, and were successfully able to actually, save some people from getting busted. I remember there were a couple of guys. Story I was told, a couple young guys in a car that pulled up to the DUI checkpoint, interdiction people, the cop blockers. So we were well in advance of the checkpoint on a road out in Walpole, which is a small town on the western side of New Hampshire, and they rolled down the window and like a waft of cannabis smoke came out of there, and they were very,
Allegedly.
Yeah, they were very, very happy that we were there letting them know that there was a police checkpoint, because there was a detour. We had found a detour around the checkpoint, and those guys took the detour. So it's always nice to to actually help some people who are otherwise innocent parties. They weren't drunk. They weren't a danger or anything like that. They're just enjoying their Friday night or Saturday night or whatever it was. So we did it again this weekend when they set it up. They actually did a double, which was unusual. They did one in a little town called Walpole again, and then they did one the next night in what you mentioned, Thomas, was Chesterfield. We went out there.
Which is border town with Vermont.
Correct. That's where the bridge from Brattleboro is in Vermont. And they actually had the checkpoint set up maybe a few hundred feet away from the bridge. It wasn't several hundred feet.
Right next to the liquor store.
Pretty much.
But the liquor store was closed.
Everything was closed by the time that they got this thing set up. They probably set it up like close to 10:30.
It seemed like a really bad place to set up. But
so, Thomas,
and
go ahead.
That's one of the things, guys, that surprised me. And it says that I sent Ian the document to look at. But, it's supposed to be in a safe area, and it's also supposed to be in an area that's considered, a high risk or, a danger area. And for some reason, to me, Vermont, the only way to actually leave the state to go to Vermont really doesn't seem that dangerous. But, the scope of their thing, and this is as per their personnel, what they're told to do is, they pull, you pull up, you greet them, and they ask you if you're intoxicated, in an effective manner, efficient manner in their own words. And then, if they are, then you do a field sobriety test. But now, that's to see if you're intoxicated. Now, if they have a plain sight thing where they've seen, you have a little bit of cannabis or, you have some type of paraphernalia or even like a weapon, like if you have a knife, even though that's not within their scope of investigation, I'm sure that they'll go right ahead and say, oh, step out of the car.
Oh, yeah, it's a fishing expedition. In fact, we got the results. Chris, you filed for the results from this DUI checkpoint, and I don't have them in front of me, but from my memory, I recall they had 0 DUI arrests.
Yep.
They had 2 arrests. One of them was for alleged drug sales, so they probably found somebody with a couple bags of weed.
Possession with intent to distribute.
Yeah, and but they never tell you which drugs, so we don't know what it was. And
one of the illegal ones.
Yeah, and they had another guy arrested for something else. I forget what that was, but no DUI.
And a couple of people that they wound up giving traffic infractions.
Well, we don't know how many people they gave traffic infractions to. They said they gave multiple.
When I sat there, they probably pulled over like 10 people and wrote them tickets.
Yeah,
so videotaped.
So we tried to get that information, Chris. You had asked them for those details about how many traffic citations did they write, because we issued multiple is not, that could be 2.
Correct.
It could be 20. So we have no idea how many they actually issued. And there were, interestingly, even though they had 0 DUIs, they did write 3 people tickets for open container violations. So even though they found open containers in 3 people's cars, or at least 3 people had open containers, maybe it was one car with 3 people with open containers, but they found at least 3 people with open containers. No DUIs were written off of that.
You can carry, if you open a bottle, some sort of bottle of liquor, and you have a top and it's closed.
Yep.
They say it's open, but it's not really open, and that's probably they were just transporting it.
I don't know. Can they get you for an open container if it's a closed container? That
I'd have to read the statute.
If it's not sealed, I don't know about New Hampshire, but I know in New Jersey they can.
Okay, so we're going to come back with more here, Thomas. If you got more to say, because we haven't really said much about this, stand by here. Thomas Parisi from the Jail Paper. Your calls and thoughts welcome as well. Free Talk Live.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is digital cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-765-9681 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-765-9681. Again, that's 800-765-9681.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free. Join us on the radio waves. Our number here is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and our Skype username is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Don't forget, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, then join the AMP program. It's amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is you send $5 a month into Free Talk Live. We take that in, invest it into the show so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, and expose new people to the ideas of freedom, liberty, individual choice, and like cryptocurrency, the cool stuff we talk about here on Free Talk Live. So if it's worth the price of a fancy cup of coffee to you to help us in our mission to spread these ideas, then please go to amp.freetalklive.com and get signed up. You'll get cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, AMP-only podcast, AMP-only Facebook group, and more. Go get the details, and you can sign up with PayPal, credit card. You can also use Bitcoin over at amp.freetalklive.com. Thomas Parisi with us from the jail paper in Keene, New Hampshire.
Now, there was a question about the open container law, and I actually pulled that up.
What was the question again?
The question was whether or not the container actually had to be open at the time. So let's say this 16-ounce bottle that I have in my hand that has water.
Allegedly.
There's a lid on it. No, it's water. 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, or vice versa. 2 to 1.
Until we send it to the drug lab, we can't know for sure.
But there's a lid on this, right, Ian?
There's a lid there, yes, sir.
This is, if this were vodka, this would be an open container because the seal has been broken.
Oh, damn it.
Yep. That's it right there. Even if you reseal it, or if it's like a bottle of champagne that you put the cork back in, you've broken the seal.
If the seal of the original container is broken, it is an open container.
Yes, but hold on. Now, wait a minute. Now, if you have vodka in a water bottle, they have no probable cause to search that bottle, right? They don't have...
They don't. No, they don't. Actually, Ian, what it is, it says their scope of investigation.
They don't even need probable cause.
They can't do that.
No, they wouldn't need probable cause to search my water bottle.
Or consent.
They would need articulable suspicion.
No.
Not to search? I don't think they would.
Nope.
If you search based on RAS, can you?
You're driving
in a car.
Hold on. You're driving through a DUI checkpoint. You've got a container there that we think might have alcohol in it. We need to search that.
And the entire vehicle, just in case there's any other contraband.
Right. But more than likely, what this is, somebody driving through with some people in the back seat, somebody in the back seat drinking something. You broke the seal on that Sam Adams winter lager that clearly says Sam Adams winter lager on the label.
You're saying that at the checkpoint that happened last weekend, the 3 tickets that they issued were probably for passengers.
Because it was not DUI.
Right.
So most likely a passenger that had cracked open a beer.
Probably the case. Thomas, you were trying to comment there. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, their scope of investigation really, it falls down to, in plain sight. Like if they look inside, it says nothing and actually discourages them from asking you, like, are there any drugs or weapons in the vehicle? That's one thing. And now Concord's the one that kind of really screwed them for a while, because Concord was pulling over, random vehicles. This one, what they were doing is they would pull over the first vehicle after a long bit where there was nobody, and then like the 4th vehicle. But their practice is they're supposed to have a uniformity. It's either every vehicle, every 5th vehicle, or every 10th vehicle.
That way they can't be accused, supposedly, of discriminating against people because of the color of their skin or whatever.
Yeah, or if you have a loud truck or a motorcycle, like things that stick out. That,
a red vehicle.
They just can't resist it. They can't resist but to go after you.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Just mess up your day. But I did notice on this, though, is that, they also said that when they provided you, Chris, you're the one that got the report from them?
I did. Yep.
Okay. Now, in the records thing, they said they should show, like, the number of vehicles stopped, the number of drivers detained, the number of arrests, and arrests for other offenses, defective tags, the officers involved, and the checkpoint operation, like their man hours. So they have all of that type of information?
This was actually a press release that I got back. So I filed a 91A. So initially I asked...
That's a FOIA request.
Yeah, that's what the number of it is here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. File a Freedom of Information Act request.
Because they wouldn't give you the details. That's the reason you filed the 91A. You asked for all the details.
Initially, I just asked them on the phone, and the cop that I talked to, I believe it was a dispatcher, said she'd send me the information I was asking for, and she then proceeded to send me a press release that had been released. And then I tried calling back a second time, and they said they couldn't give me anything else. So I then proceeded to file a 91A. And
then they told you that you had to do that with the state police in Concord rather than the troop that had specifically done the checkpoint.
Oh, yeah. They made me...
So here goes the pass the buck. Here goes the runaround
they
process.
avoided it. And then they said, what just blew my mind was, I think, was it 60 days?
I think they said 90 days.
90 days, yeah. It was some insane amount of time. And all I asked was... It's funny.
Just to clarify, they said it would take 90 days to give you an answer to your inquiry.
Yeah, right. So they could come back saying, we don't have this, or you didn't phrase your question right, or any number of different things.
I think the statute says they're
supposed to respond within.
They're supposed to respond within 30
days.
And the response could be, we need more time.
Yeah, that's what they did.
And it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if after this period of time they say, we have no documents relative to your request.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Oh, a quick question is, Chris, did you drive through the checkpoint? Because I know one of the cars drove through.
I drove through.
Three people drove through, actually.
Yeah, Michael Gordon drove through from Cop Block.
Yep, Bob drove through.
That's your boyfriend.
What, did they have any type of like grumpy experience because they were cop blockers, or did like the cops react in a different way, or did they specifically pull over their car? Like, did they do the diversion?
I think
Where
we
they
all
put them
got
in, like,
pulled.
the second, the park lane?
It's a good question.
I got diverted.
Were they pulling? There were so few cars on the road actually that they may have been pulling everybody over.
Well, Thomas, you were there watching, so you know they weren't pulling everybody.
Yeah, because I was up there like recording for 2 hours. What I saw is like things like they pull over a couple motorcycles, they could pull over a couple loud trucks. Things where it looked like they weren't doing it like it says here, where it's like every car, every 5 cars, every 10 cars. I mean, I'm going by what their protocol says from their own manual. But it's one of those things where, like, I guess they may have pulled you guys over because, like, oh, hey, there's those guys. We've seen them before. Because, there's at least, I guess, 20 cops down there. I mean, maybe in that ballpark. But I was just curious if they asked you what they asked you when they stopped you or what they asked them when they stopped them.
Well, so the videos, you're actually the first person to come out publicly with video over at the Jail Paper on Facebook. You put up a teaser video of your interview with me that I think you're going to have a longer piece for your full show that you're gonna put on later. But yeah, we did all get video footage from the runs through, and that stuff has yet to actually surface online that I'm aware of. In my case, I actually turned the tables on the cops, and I asked all the questions when I pulled up there.
I think we all did that actually.
Yeah, I haven't watched the other videos, so I don't know what happened in the other videos. But I kind of they already know who I am.
You were probably the most effective though.
It's not like they had to ask me for ID because they knew who I was, but I suppose they still could have asked me and like checked the ID for warrants, but they could have done that anyway because they know who I am. But the one thing they didn't ask me, so they didn't ask me for ID and they didn't ask me for car registration either the whole time. And that's just because I got up there and I just started asking them a bunch of questions. So the videos I think should be pretty interesting when we finally get them online. I don't know who, if anybody, is actually editing these, so maybe no one has stepped up yet.
I thought Matt was going to edit them.
We'll have to check on that. But yeah, so those videos do exist.
That, damn it.
So one of the things I wanted to mention during this was you were actually over with us. So what we did, for listeners that don't know, this DOI checkpoint interdiction, the idea is you want to get people to turn away from the checkpoint or know in advance that they're about to hit it so they can make a decision as to whether or not they want to actually go through it early enough in advance. And one of the things I did notice at the very least was they weren't pulling people over who were turning around, because some checkpoints in some places, if they spot somebody make a U-turn or whatever, they'll go and they'll pull that person over.
Some places will consider that probable cause of something.
I know. I believe in New Jersey they're not allowed to do that.
Maybe they're not allowed here either. I don't know.
I don't know about New Hampshire though,
because they weren't doing it.
They technically don't have probable cause. They're supposed to, and this is according to the manual, they're supposed to do it in a non-discriminatory, it's not. They're not supposed to be targeting people.
Do you want to stick with us a little bit more here, Thomas? It's up to you, because I got more to say.
Yeah.
I'll go. I'll go one more round.
One more here with Thomas Parisi. Hour number 3 is on the way. This is Free Talk Live. Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of NomoFlea free.
NomoFlea flea spray kills fleas safely with no poison.
Because it's a polypeptide protein molecule made from
vegetable oil.
Try NomoFlea.
Free. This week at Dinovite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $18.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,350 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,618. Antiwar.com reports despite Russian opposition already having effectively killed the chances of a total oil ban on North Korea being enforced, the U.S. is still pushing the plan at the UN Security Council. It's not just a ban, however. The U.S. wants permission to militarily enforce it. The resolution includes broad language allowing the U.S. Navy and Air Force to capture and board North Korean ships at sea and to use all necessary measures to force them to reveal if they are complying with the ban. U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley is looking for a vote by Monday, though it seems like any language within the resolution about interdiction of North Korean ships is likely to be removed at the behest of both China and Russia if the resolution is to survive at all. China is said to be interested in showing that they are cooperating with the U.S. on some sort of UN resolution, though Russia has been frank about opposing more sanctions. Either way, the U.S. goal seems to be leaving at least some of the language about the interdiction within and then treating that as permission. The resolution is more than just a way to try to enforce an unenforceable embargo. The U.S. plan is to militarily board North Korean ships, and officials are conceding that's almost certainly a recipe for military confrontation. The Treasury Department warned on Wednesday that if the UN action is blocked, the U.S. might go through with imposing a ban on all U.S. trade with dozens of nations that trade with North Korea. Such a move would have disastrous economic consequences worldwide. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports with Hurricane Irma just a couple of days out, Florida's 20 million residents are hitting highways out of town, and those who aren't leaving are searching for supplies to hunker down. State's residents are bracing for the strongest storm since Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 storm, struck South Florida in 1992. Andrew caused $47.8 billion in damage and killed 65 people. Irma is forecast to diminish to a Category 4 storm with sustained winds between 130 to 156 miles per hour when it possibly reaches Florida around 8 a.m. on Sunday, though tropical force winds are forecast to arrive Saturday. Governor Rick Scott said Thursday that Irma is much worse and much more devastating on its current path than Andrew. Scott said during a briefing on Thursday, Andrew did not have storm surge, but this storm does. This can kill you. The National Hurricane Center issued a storm surge watch and hurricane watch for South Florida, stretching from the Jupiter Inlet south around the peninsula's southern tip to Bonita Beach on the Gulf Coast. The Florida Keys are also included in both watches. After the watch was posted, Governor Scott called up 3,000 additional members of the Florida National Guard. Another 1,000 members were called up earlier in the week, and the remaining 3,000 must report to duty on Friday. Mandatory evacuations have already been issued in coastal areas of South Florida, including the Florida Keys, and more than 650,000 Miami-Dade residents on barrier islands, including Miami Beach, and in low-lying mainland areas. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a federal appeals court on Thursday rejected the Trump administration's efforts to temporarily bar most refugees from entering the country, ruling that those who have relationships with a resettlement agency should be exempt from an executive order banning refugees. A 3-judge 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals panel also ruled that grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins of legal U.S. residents should be exempted from President Donald Trump's order, which banned travelers from 6 Muslim-majority countries. The ruling is the latest legal blow to the president's sweeping executive order barring travelers from Iran, Syria, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen for 90 days, which Trump said was necessary for national security. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Inclement weather prevents a liar from getting to work, and a lunchbox is mostly medication. Sources across the nation impatiently reported today that the 24-hour news cycle seemed to be taking forever, telling reporters that the continuous coverage from MSNBC, CNN, and other news sources was simply not continuous enough. Frustrated Americans demanded more panel coverage, around-the-clock bulletins, and breaking reactions from Twitter.
It's like, sure, I have 5 channels of unending news updates constantly flooding my screen, but each one of those only has one slow-moving news ticker. Why not 3 or 4 running at triple speed? Honestly, these networks need to understand that I can't just wait around all day for minute-by-minute coverage.
And in this week's science news, a new report finds that lake ice grows safer to venture out on with each beer consumed. In other news, the beauty industry announces a new initiative to make women self-conscious about their palms. A beautiful cinnamon bun is too good for this world, too pure. And a picky eater is 38.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It is Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 here. You can bring up anything that you want. We actually haven't gotten to the Equifax story. At some point, maybe we will tonight. Ended up talking about DUI checkpoints, open container violations, and I wanted to get back into the open container aspect because we were discussing, what does it mean to have an open container? Now, obviously, there's different states and different places. So, like in some places, it's not even illegal. Like New Orleans, I believe, is one of the places, or Savannah, Georgia. I know Savannah, Georgia. I think New Orleans only in parts, but Savannah, Georgia, I believe the entire city of Savannah is it's not illegal to have an open container
and
there.
Again, there's difference between open container while you're on foot and open container inside a vehicle.
Right, and people confuse that all the time. I forget where I was being attacked for it, and I was like, when we did the open container protest in Keene, and it was like, wait a minute, hold on, we weren't protesting. We were protesting sidewalk, like open container, people walking down the street with it, not driving a car and drinking.
Well, here's something that's absolutely ridiculous about the open container ordinance, specifically in Keene.
Yeah, it's a city ordinance.
Is there are some of the restaurants downtown that have sidewalk seating.
Oh, yeah.
Where the tables are close to the street.
Right. They're on the street.
So the sidewalk is between.
They're on the sidewalk.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're on the sidewalk. I meant to say they're on the sidewalk.
But the walking area is between the table and the door.
So the table isn't next to the building. The table is by where the cars are parked across the sidewalk from the entrance. So if you want to go to the table from inside and you walk to the table with your container,
that's illegal.
That's illegal. That's an open container. You have to put it on a waitress's tray thing, or if I guess the waitress could hold it in her hand. and then it suddenly magically becomes not an open container.
The waitress can cross so she can cross the sidewalk to bring it to you, but that's the only way you can get it from inside to the
And then there's also something about handing containers of alcohol over the counter. So Local Burger, where we have Social Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody orders a beer, the waitress has to physically walk around the counter and hand them the beer or the sangria.
Yeah, it's just some dumb old...
It's not a bar.
Go ahead, Thomas. Thomas Precy with us here, by the way.
No, I mean, that's because, maybe that's because it would look like it's a bar, in the eyes of liquor enforcement.
Could very well be.
If they handed you a beer, they'd get a stiff fine for it.
Oh, yeah, it's just some dumb crap left over from Prohibition, just in the same way that the state is in New Hampshire at least, is the exclusive distributor of all hard liquors.
Right, and in some states where, there's quote-unquote competition, the state is still sort of the distributor to where
the exclusive.
All of the privately run companies must purchase through the state.
We're short on time with Thomas Parisi from the jail paper, so I wanted to come back to the DUI checkpoint where you came out as a journalist to kind of, check this out, see what was going on out there. We split up. We figured out a way around the. I found a route around for people going one direction to get around the checkpoint, and then the other way was to put people on in Brattleboro actually at like a roundabout, so people could be sent back on the interstate to not even go into New Hampshire. So we had two stations of people set up. You were at the Brattleboro side,
in
Chris,
Vermont. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was on the New Hampshire side. And Thomas, you came up with us on the New Hampshire side to kind of just observe and basically. This is not a glamorous form of activism. We're standing in the dark.
No.
It wasn't as cold as it could have been, thank goodness.
About midnight.
Not that night, it wasn't.
Yeah, but we're standing in the dark, and it was a very slow night. There weren't a whole lot of cars that went by generally in the 2+ hours that I think we were out there generally. And
maybe less than 100. Definitely less than 100.
Oh, you're talking about 100 that went through the entire stop the entire time.
Night, maybe.
I would say maybe. Less than probably 20 or 30 in the time that we were like hot, when we were actually stationed, because it took us some time to figure out where to set up, and then we set up.
There was a handful of cars that turned with the signs in Vermont.
Vermont,
Brattleboro, and but the thing is, there were so few cars going in that direction to begin with that the few cars that turned were probably half
a good
the
percentage.
Cars. Yeah, half the cars that were even heading in that direction.
Sorry.
Please go ahead.
We had a fun experience that one of the guys or some guy in a truck, when we were waving the signs, there was 4 of us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he turns around the middle of the street, throws on these hunting lights. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're going to kill us!" And all of a sudden, he's there like, "Do you guys need help?" We're like, "No, it's just a DUI checkpoint aversion."
Yeah, it's just one of those nice New Hampshire guys, driving a big old truck. He spins around, and the rain was starting to come down at that point, I think. And he saw us on the side of the road. He saw my car over there, and he thought we might have been broken down, so he was just checking in on us. But the other fun thing that happened, besides we did have a couple turn-offs as well, but you don't know if they were turning off just because.
We did, actually.
So the one thing that happened was the heckler that came up. So some lady who was coming.
Oh, yeah, we're morons. Yeah, you're a bunch of morons.
Right. And I wish we would have gotten that one on tape. I don't think anybody was, because your camera had died at that point, Thomas. So I don't think you caught it.
I just ran out of juice, but she lost her mind on us.
Oh yeah, she's just yelling out her window,
trying to kill people.
Right. No, she was claiming she was worried we were going to get run down by a drunk. So she was claiming that.
Yeah.
That's why we were stupid.
We were in the road.
Was she drunk?
We're all the way back on the farthest part of the shoulder, but we were in the road.
Has she been drinking?
No, that's what Bob asked her. Actually, he yelled at her. She asked if she was drinking, and she just proceeded to call us morons several more times, and then ultimately ended up taking off. But that was pretty much it. That was the DUI checkpoint. No DUIs were caught.
So there was something interesting I wanted to point out earlier, and I didn't. There were no DUI arrests that night.
That's correct.
And there.
No, and
yeah.
You got to remember, how much money did they spend to actually do that? Is what's kind of
good question.
A lot. It's coming from federal dollars.
You've got 20 cops on overtime for 6 to 8 hours, and you made no arrests. What was the effectiveness of it?
Well, that's interesting because I filed in the case. So when these checkpoints happen, they're approved by a local judge in the local county courthouse, and they filed it several weeks in advance. I didn't find out about it until like a week in advance. And so then I went and I filed a motion to intervene in that case, which I've never seen succeed. And in this case, it didn't succeed either. I finally did get the notice back from the court where
what did it say?
My motion was
What was the
denied.
response?
I'll have to go and
did they give you any kind of response, or was it just
he
denied?
Did. I was actually surprised. He did give a written response, basically saying that, well, even though there's no DUI arrests, we're preventing DUIs. Was essentially basically what the judge
DUIs if there's nobody drinking on the road.
No. He was. The suggestion is that by virtue of fact of having a DUI checkpoint means that
people that were going to drive drunk decided not to.
That's
right,
the
because
suggestion.
people who are going to be driving drunk are thinking about what they're doing before they do it.
Have perfect judgment.
Yeah, okay.
Right. The drunks of Keene are planning their nights so specifically as to avoid the DUI checkpoint because all of them read the newspaper.
Right.
Yeah.
Because all of the drunks in Keene read the newspaper.
They're supposed to do public information for a week in advance, but I never saw anything on any of the state troopers' blogs or anything like their Facebook.
They have a press release list. They send out a notice when they get the approval from the court, and then usually the local paper will publish it.
I really doubt that there's many people who are going and drinking and driving and reading the paper.
No. First of all, most people don't read the paper,
right?
People under the age of 45 or 55 don't read the newspaper generally. The newspaper's subscription ratings or pass-around rating has gone down dramatically in the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also talking about people coming from Vermont. So, the people coming from Brattleboro would have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Thomas, where can folks find you in the jail paper?
Oh, the jail paper would be thejailpaper.com. You're on the cover of it, but I still have to update the website. But on Facebook, it would be the jail paper, or in our circumstance where it's local, it's the jail paper Keene.
All right, so folks who are out there who've been kind of following along with freekeene.com, it's another local blog that's following along on more the crime aspect of what's happening in courthouses and outside. I know you were out at the DUI, or not only were you out at the DUI checkpoint last weekend, you're out tonight checking out the liquor enforcement, and we're going to join you later on tonight. So, Thomas, thanks for the call. We'll let you get back to it. I appreciate you staying on.
Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you guys later.
Yes, sir, for an extended, unexpected but pleasant interview with Thomas Parisi. More coming up here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom, because we can do stuff like this when we get even a small number of liberty activists together in one area. And even more can be possible if you come join us.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Heart disease is on the rise. Clogged arteries, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol levels may not be fully detected by you, but the symptoms are there. Loss of energy, blood sugar spikes and drops, poor circulation, and irregular heartbeat are just a few of these that can alert you that something is wrong. Hear how Heart and Body Extract is making a difference in thousands of people's lives across America.
My blood pressure has normalized. My diabetes has totally improved.
Everyone is telling me now how much healthier I look, and I'm telling
telling everyone how much healthier I feel. I recommend Heart and Body Extract to everyone.
Anybody over 40 in the North American continent should be using this product as a preventative to keep their cardiovascular system healthy.
Order your 2-month supply today by calling 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. Or order online, hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract, 866-295-5305 or hbextract.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Join us on the radio. Our number here is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype, and the Skype username is LRN.FM. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
And don't forget, if you want to save big time on your purchases at Amazon, you can do it through saveitpurse.com. You go there and you load up your Amazon wish list into saveitpurse.com. You then select your discount. In fact, Darryl, you recently got something at 19% off.
I did. It was a crepe maker.
Yep, I'm looking forward to whoever it is that's going to make those crepes, because I do enjoy some of that. So yeah, you can save big time.
Crepes.
Save big time on the stuff that you would have normally bought anyway. 19% is not an unusual number to save at saveitpurse.com.
Correct.
So check that out when you get a chance. Oh, there is a catch. You do have to use cryptocurrency like Bitcoin in order to get those discounts. You cannot get those discounts with Federal Reserve notes or fiat currency. So check it out. Save ATPurse, saveitpurse.com. We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. But I did want to just put a little bit more out there on the last subject about cop block, police accountability activism here in New Hampshire. It's at a level that is unprecedented. And we were just discussing this during the break, that the numbers of people that we have showing up to these things in Manchester, it's sometimes, 2 or 3 dozen people. In Keene this last weekend, or in the Keene area, it was about 8, or at least 8 people. I think we did an exact count. It was 8 people that showed up. But that's actually down from what it was in 2012, where we had 12 people show up to interdict one of the DUI checkpoints. So while I was happy to see 8 people come out. I'd have loved to have, had 16 people or something like that. The more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned, when you're doing police accountability activism. But even from somebody else's perspective, from outside of New Hampshire, hearing about 8 people is like an overwhelming number. Because your typical cop blocker out there, we've had one of them called in within the last couple of weeks saying he wanted to do, cop block where he lived, but he couldn't find anybody to help him. And it's just like, I can understand. That's how it is in most places where you're lucky if there's a second cop blocker in your area.
Keene's a small town. I mean, it's under 30,000 people.
Small city.
Right. Yeah. It's less than 30,000 people. So
about 23.
I mean, the fact that we can get, a dozen people out there occasionally is really shocking. And every about once a week we go out. So I'd say there's 4 or 5 people fairly regularly. So that's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, but
I don't think it's bad.
But it could be better.
Yeah. It could definitely be better.
It can be better, and it should be better. We need to get more people to move to New Hampshire who care about freedom because, look, where you are, you don't have any help, or you have very, very little. Whether you're doing political action or whether you're doing cop block or whatever it is that your thing is that you're into, if you're an activist. Maybe you're not even an activist because you just can't find anybody to help you. You'd like to do some activist stuff, but nobody else wants to. So, it's hard to do these things alone. In fact, I would recommend highly against going out and cop blocking alone. That's a highly dangerous
definitely wouldn't do it alone.
Activity. Is highly risky. They are going to likely target you, especially if you're alone. So, if you got it in your head that you want to go and do stuff like this, the best place to do it is here in New Hampshire. Check out the New Hampshire freedom migration that is happening, and it has been happening for quite a while now. But there are a couple thousand people who've migrated here for this migration, and you can go to move.shiresociety.com. That's move.shiresociety.com. It'll tell you a little bit about it and link you over to a video with 101 reasons why liberty lives in New Hampshire, why this is the best place for people who want to be free to get started. And the reason why the numbers went down, somebody might be asking, well, why would your numbers have gone down over 5 years? Because they had a checkpoint in 2012, and they had a checkpoint last weekend here, and our turnout went down from 12 to 8. And 2 of the people who were in our 8 weren't from the Keene area. They'd come over to help us from the Manchester region, although one of them's Melanie, and she used to live in Keene. But my point being, what happened in the early times in New Hampshire in this migration was a lot of people moved who were, let's say, call them transients, floaters, butterflies, if you will, people who didn't really have roots that they were putting down somewhere. More single males who would just kind of show up. They don't have a whole lot tying them down where they were, so they moved here. They were some of the earliest movers, and many of them kind of found a different path in life, and everybody's on their own journey, and they moved on. A lot of them actually moved out of New Hampshire. Others moved to other spots in New Hampshire.
People like Derek J. moved to the Seacoast.
The Seacoast, right.
While you keep saying the numbers are down, I think something else to look at is it's not just the number of people who are here, but the number of people who are putting roots down. And if you've looked at over the years, there's more people buying property, even though the numbers are going down, which means that there's more long-term people that.
That's what I was saying. Was in the early days you had the less people without roots. Now more people are coming in who are more committed to sticking this thing out. So we're sort of rebuilding that, and we still do have the best movement. There still are the most activists here, but the thing is, nobody really counts the numbers of people who leave. And I think it would be interesting to have those numbers because like the Free State Project will tell you that 2,000 people have moved. Well, that's a true statement, but we don't know how many of the 2,000 have left. They don't count those numbers.
And there's people who refuse to be counted too.
That's true.
That are not.
That's a question mark.
Yeah.
How many people aren't joiners who just want to come somewhere?
There's also people who were living here before the Free State Project.
Yep.
I think there's about 5,000 people total, and for and most people,
these are the Friends of the Free State Project.
Right, Friends of the Free State. Yeah. And there's also something else to point out. Most of the people in New Hampshire live in the southern part of the state. We're all within about an hour of each. Most of the population is within about an hour of each other.
So it's not hard to move around and
right.
It's about 2 hours from here to the Seacoast.
That's true. But to the population center of Manchester, an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15.
Yeah, whether you're talking about Concord or Manchester, which are the 2 big ones, or Nashua, all of the, and Keene, all of them are.
Which is one of the reasons why New Hampshire was chosen, because it's so small. Like in the Free State Project's vote, when they had 10 different states from which they were choosing. I was one of the people who voted in this selection back in 2003. New Hampshire won overwhelmingly, and it defeated the second place from Wyoming was the second place state. And it defeated Wyoming pretty soundly. And I think one of the reasons was because here you can easily get around. Whereas Wyoming's this humongous place where, if you live 8 hours from the State House, well, you're not going to go there.
Right.
But here in Keene, we're just over an hour from the State House. So it's easy to go and do political action, to come together for these things in one place. And like you were pointing out, in Manchester, sometimes people from other areas, like we came out from Keene to go to the DUI checkpoint in Manchester, for instance. So I don't mean to make it sound like the movement is smaller than it was. I think it's overall larger. I was just saying the cop block DUI checkpoint turnout was lower 5 years later.
And at one time, it seemed as though more people would just do whatever the particular thing was on
at any given time. Yeah.
And now there's a lot more things that people are doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's true as well.
There's actually there's too many things, I think.
It's kind of like in some places, a libertarian finds another libertarian, and they're like, "You're a libertarian too? We have to be friends now."
Right.
And in New Hampshire, there's so many, you get to pick and choose, and you don't have to hang out with the people that you don't like.
Thank goodness, because there are so many of them that don't get along, and they don't have to hang out with each other, which is wonderful. All right, 855-450-FREE. Your calls and thoughts coming up here. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
My husband says, "You are what you eat." Not true, dear. I did my research. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So I didn't feel the vitamins and supplements I was taking were effective. I didn't feel any different. Then I switched to Protivite, a liquid multivitamin, mineral, and phytonutrient complex. And wow, you've got to see the video at truehealthfacts.com. That's truehealthfacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protivite is nutrition you can feel. Protivite is nutrition that gets in.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at SurvivorMax.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and join us on the radio waves. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. As we continue here, we'll take your calls and thoughts. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
Don't forget to check out Chris's website, thinkpenguin.com. You're looking for some privacy-centric computer hardware? Well, they've got it, whether it's a laptop or desktop computer or even your router. You've got some pretty cool stuff that's Linux-based that'll help keep people's privacy safe.
Yep. Yeah, we got some VPNs, virtual private networks kind of stuff going on, and we got some new servers we're setting up that are going to have really cool routing functionality where it routes basically web traffic through port 80 to get you low latency, and which basically means your response time speeds up because normally you move all your traffic through, but you wouldn't want to use
a server. Is this for people with a VPN?
Yeah.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to use a server in the United States because there's certain liability issues where you have to log stuff, and if you obviously want a VPN, you want to have privacy, and you're not going to get that.
Yeah, you don't want a VPN that's going to have the U.S. police showing up asking for information.
But because port 80 is you don't have basically it has to do with copyright, but copyright really is only an issue if they're sending notices to the ISP. So if you eliminate peer-to-peer type traffic, which we do by routing through another country, then all of a sudden you don't have that problem anymore.
You guys are, you know what you're doing over there at thinkpenguin.com. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Sarah is on the line in Albuquerque. Sarah, go ahead. You're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, so, it looks like they had a poll. It looks like my candidates, I had two top candidates. They're going to be in the runoff. So that means that, I basically won for the Democrats.
Well, first of all, it's a little premature to go based on a poll to determine whether or not you have won something. First of all, polls in advance of political contests are not always indicative of what's actually going to happen.
Correct, because the polls predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to wind up being elected president last year.
So it's a little early to be celebrating, on this point, Sarah.
And some people might see this poll and think, oh, well, my guy's getting in the runoff. No need for me to show up to vote.
So they might not. Yeah.
I've actually wondered how much polls actually have the opposite effect. Like if they say one person's going to win, then they don't win as a result because nobody goes out if everybody knows.
If there's a poll that's useful as far as predicting a winner, it's probably more of an exit poll. So people that are being polled on the day of the election after they have voted, then you'll get some kind of idea of what's probably going to occur.
It's actually interesting about New Hampshire, and the whole reason that it's the first state to I guess have
presidential primary.
Yeah, and there's always a lot of reporters here and stuff, and it kind of gives a feel for how things are going to go, and of course the candidates are always here because they want to make sure that they have a very high profile to get the votes because it affects the rest of the election.
Right, but John Kasich practically moved to New Hampshire for several months leading up to the primary, focused all of his energy in New Hampshire, skipped the Iowa caucuses to focus on New Hampshire.
How'd that work for him?
He thought that he was going to wind up doing amazing, and he did absolutely horribly.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the good news about this election is that I thought that we're going to wind up with one Democrat and one Republican in the runoff. But it turns out that we're going to have Mr. Colon is a Democrat and Mr. Tim Keller is a top Democrat. So we might have just two top Democrats to pick from. The one guy,
which would make you happy, but ultimately, people who want choices wouldn't be so happy.
Right, and this is one of the problems with having a top two runoff system, is you do wind up basically eliminating, if one party winds up having a really, really strong candidate and the other party has a very weak candidate, then the party with a really strong candidate might wind up having both candidates in that runoff.
And this is probably nonpartisan, right? Are they? You just happen to know that they're Democrats?
No, everybody runs. There's independents, everything, and everybody running. And they don't really have to be. It's a nonpartisan, but everybody knows who they are because Mr. Colon is the chairperson of the Democratic Party,
yeah, sure.
And Tim Keller was a Democrat, a state auditor, and state representative. So it's just a given. So all of them, Dan Lewis and
nobody cares about what their names are. By the way, we don't live there.
So let me give an example at a state level. In a partisan race, last year, the U.S. Senate election in California, because they do this weird top two thing, so everybody goes on one ballot, and then whoever the top two are, those are the two candidates on the general election ballot. Write-in votes are prohibited.
Wow.
And it was two Democrats that made it through the primary, and if you didn't want a Democrat, then, well, you're SOL. And there was a huge drop-off of people that voted for president, did not vote for U.S. Senate in California.
Sarah, thanks for the call tonight. Let's talk to David, who's also in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Chris, and Darryl.
Yeah, well, I was going to further discuss some points of law concerning Cantwell and the wrongful denial of bail, according to our Constitution, anyway.
Yeah,
but,
Christopher Cantwell, the racist talk show host who is currently sitting in a jail cell until further notice because the judge denied him bail in a case that most people would probably be given bail, and the denial was clearly based on the content of his speech. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just say on that, I want to comment to what Sarah said since she was right in front of me. So let me just do the Cantwell thing another night, but I'll just leave everybody in your audience that they might want to quick Google at their leisure extraordinary writs, because if there's ever a case where an extraordinary writ is called for, a petition for one is called for, it would be that situation. But
what is that? What is an extraordinary writ?
It is it's extraordinary is a key word, and that means it's unusual. They're rare. They're used sparingly when a lower court. So for in the case of Cantwell, the court has kind of screwed him over. It looks like to most of us with common sense, and so you need to appeal that order, and that could take a long time if you go through the normal process.
Right. Chris said it could take 6 months to appeal the bail denial.
Yeah, and we'll just call that the normal appeals process for an appeal as of right, an appeal you have a right to. And so in cases like that, you can petition and the court above that court to issue a writ of mandamus, which tells the lower court to do something, or a writ of prohibition, which tells the lower court not to do something, which might also be known as an injunction. And writ of habeas corpus is another writ, and there's a couple other writs as well if a person reads up on it, and they come in handy. So you petition the higher court you tell them the circumstances, and if the higher court says, oh, yeah, we can't be having any of that, and so the higher court this can all be done, basically immediately. So
you're saying you're saying that Cantwell's lawyer should know this stuff and should be doing this. Doesn't sound like he is.
Yeah, and I don't know what he may have a better strategy than I have.
He may not. This lawyer was the fourth choice that Cantwell, because the first three attorneys turned him down, so this was the fourth option, and this guy is, well, let's just say he looks funny.
So I just pulled up information about the extraordinary writ from the Cornell Law School, where it says extraordinary writ authorized by, and then it cites the federal code, is not a matter of right, but of discretion sparingly exercised.
Sparingly being the key word.
To justify the granting of such a writ, the petition must show that the writ will be in aid of the court's appellate jurisdiction, that exceptional circumstances warrant the exercise of the court's discretionary power, and that adequate relief cannot be obtained in any other form or from any other court.
Thanks for the call tonight, David. Appreciate that. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. As we learn more about the situation Chris Cantwell finds himself in, we'll certainly pass it on to you, but things tend to move slow when you're in jail. It's Free Talk Live.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-496-3947. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-496-3947. That's 1-800-496-3947. 1-800-496-3947.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you. And you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. 855-700-2979. That's 855-700-2979.
Now Facebook is rolling out their newest feature, LifePoint, which analyzes users' histories to determine exactly when things went wrong. The new feature combs through photos, status updates, likes, everything that you put on Facebook in order to pinpoint how someone irreparably ruined their life. For example, it might highlight your friend's spring break trip in 2003 when she took her first shot, or your cousin's engagement to a guy named Scott spelled with a K.
So, Facebook must have a lot of depressing information to work with. Well, we look for sadness indicators, positive versus negative adjectives and status updates, whether you've liked a corporate entity such as Walmart or Arby's.
One of LifePoint's most buzzed about features is the Life Compare function, which lets you see how your mistakes stack up to others.
Here, I'm overlaying my graph with a graph of a childhood friend. You can see his life ended up much worse than mine, which is great.
Anything with a profile has a LifePoint, so you can look forward to finding out when your favorite bands, TV shows, and companies started going downhill.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll free and join us here. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype as well. In these remaining moments, there's enough time for you. If you get on the line right now, Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, you've got Ian here.
Chris.
And Darryl.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. We've got a email list. If you want to get signed up, find out the latest about Free Talk Live. Once a week, we do an email update. You can sign up to the email list there over at freetalklive.com. There's the email sign-up box right there on the front page toward the top in the middle of the site. Check that out over at freetalklive.com as you're enjoying all the other great features that we give you for free on our website. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Ricky is on the line in Pennsylvania. Go ahead, Ricky.
That'd be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania there, Brother Ian.
What's on your mind tonight, Ricky?
Well, I'm going to say right now, I love you guys and girls that aren't on tonight.
Okay.
We're not always going to agree, and that's fine. But one thing that concerns me was my discussion last night with Darryl. Brother Darryl.
What's on your mind, Ricky?
He's right here. Just go ahead.
Well, remember at the end of our discussion that I thought went pretty
I did not listen, and a bunch of our listeners weren't
All
there
right,
either.
So let me recap. You said a bunch of things that were English words that didn't really fit coherently into sentences, but then
so
you
it's basically
said,
every call.
But then you said something about liberty through democracy, and I explained that those words contradict one another.
I heard you saying that.
Because liberty means that you have rights, because you're a human being and you have rights, and democracy is the theory that your rights exist only if a majority of people recognize those rights.
So your exact words, if I remember correctly, you said you cannot have liberty and democracy at the same time. That's a contradictory thing.
That probably sounds like an exact quote.
Yeah,
yes.
that's a good summary.
And that's basically what I just said again. And I will reiterate.
Well, I'll
that
explain. If you could there, Brother Ian or Brother Chris, pull up a dictionary. I myself hit Merriam-Webster. Your choice. Check out the first definitions.
Of what?
So here's the problem, Darryl.
What am I looking up?
Of the word democracy and confederacy.
The hell's that have to do with this?
You said liberty
that's the
through
problem.
democracy. Liberty and democracy are contradictory words.
But here's the thing. You can have liberty, but see, here's the thing. Check out confederacy and democracy.
Definition of democracy: a system of government by the whole population or all eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives, control of an organization or group by majority of its members.
So control is the word control is an indicator that you're talking about something that is not liberty, because liberty means that you are free from external controls over that you've not consented to on your own. Liberty, is your freedom to live your life how you want, so long as you don't harm somebody else. But if there's a group of people, a majority in this case, who can force their will upon you through this governmental system known as democracy, you don't have liberty. Now, what about
liberty
confederacy?
Definition.
See, that's the problem. Let's check out confederacy.
Hold on.
We'll get there.
You started with saying liberty and democracy are not contradictory.
I'm not changing the game.
So let me answer that before I answer your moved goalpost definition. Liberty, the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. That is contradictory to democracy.
Well, what does confederacy have anything to do with this, Ricky?
Confederacy is a league or alliance, especially of Confederate states, or an alliance of people or groups formed for an illicit purpose.
Okay.
Okay, and that's one of the definitions, yes.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Now, the problem with, I would agree with you, Darryl, if it was under our current system. Okay,
it doesn't matter what system
any democracy.
You have.
Yes.
If you have democracy, someone's liberty is being infringed.
The minority is usually the one who's being infringed in a democracy.
Right, and it's right in the definition, control of a group by a majority of its members.
What part about that is confusing to you, Ricky?
Well, because first off, Merriam-Webster dictionary has a completely different definition than the one that Darryl just read.
Why do we have to compare definitions?
Okay, Merriam-Webster.
Majority rule.
Rule of the majority.
That's not what mine said. Anyway,
what difference does it make? What edition of Merriam-Webster's defines democracy as something other than tyranny? But we voted on tyranny, so therefore it's not tyranny.
It's tyranny of the majority is what democracy is.
Actually, it's not even tyranny of the majority. It's tyranny of the plurality, because the majority sit on their ass at home eating Doritos, and they don't even express an opinion on election day.
Go ahead, Ricky.
All right, you ran for president, and I like you.
Yes, yes, I did. And I said democracy should go the way of slavery and be something that's relegated to history.
Right, but here's the problem. We never had pure democracy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If it's pure democracy, Ricky, then it's still majority rule.
So what you want then, Darryl, I guess, would be anarchy.
Yeah. I've not been shy about that, ever.
Well, okay, Darryl, that's real good, but there's problems with anarchy.
And there's problems with your democracy thing. Anytime somebody has the right to control another human being, there's going to be problems. I would rather have problems with people being free than any problems with people trying to control other human beings.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Definitely.
I don't call myself an anarchist, but I agree that we don't need democracy. We don't need to have these political systems that are being forced upon people. I believe that we don't need a state at all. I don't think that we need to have this decrepit old organization, no matter what the organization surrounding it happens to look like.
Now, Ricky, whatever sort of thing you come up with, can I opt out of it?
Actually, you're in New Hampshire, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so unless you moved here,
Well, I can't opt out of the United States federal government. So if you take over and you control the landmass that is currently the United States of America, and you change it to a confederacy, could I opt out of your thing?
The problem is, Darryl, I'm going to tell you right now, the problem is, and it's very difficult, the problem not only yourself is experiencing right now is looking at not only the current system, but the system that we never really had. There's a system people wanted, something that never existed. Imagine this, okay? You would have to change a lot of things. You would have to change the way you got House, Senate, President. Well, we don't need all of them.
What do you want to see, Ricky? Paint your picture here. What is it that you are envisioning?
First of all, when I say freedom and independence for all with liberty through democracy, that's the people. Okay, fine. Now, what do these politicians do? Okay, I'll tell you what they do. They do one thing. They push a pencil. Only thing they do is follow the will of the people. Now,
no, they don't.
Are you talking about in your Ricky fantasy, or are you talking about what they do right now?
Okay. Once you have, okay, let me ask you something.
See, the problem, Ricky, with the way you communicate is you have a track going in your mind, and it's going in completely different directions, and you just jump between the tracks at times. It's my best understanding of how this works. Like he was talking about. Originally I had asked him the question about what is your vision, and then you started talking about what politicians do. You were talking about the vision of what the politicians should do, which is the will of the people, not what they actually do right now, right?
They would push pencils, and
you can't even answer a question. You can't even answer a question. I mean, I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Try it one more time.
So when you said the politicians are going to do the will of the people, you meant, or that they do the will of the people, you meant in your future vision, right? Not right now.
Absolutely, it would have to be.
See, that's the thing. You're terrible at communicating. You're speaking, in terms that make it sound like you're talking now. You were talking in the present tense about politicians, but you were painting a picture of what you wanted to have happen. Look, you're living in a complete fantasy. The idea that politicians are going to do the will of the people is absurd. But even if they did do the will of the people, it wouldn't be liberty, as Darryl, for all the reasons he pointed out earlier, pointed out. Thank you for the call, Ricky. Appreciate it.
I agree with one thing.
With Ricky?
Well, yeah. Well, no, about what you said about Ricky, except that I think it applies to all of us. We're all living in a fantasy world.
Well, I mean, now we're getting pretty esoteric here, but
we have ideals of what we want the world to look like. Some of us can actually communicate that in the terms of the present day.
And we're out of time for tonight, so you can join us tomorrow night online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget to check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire at 101reasonsfilm.com. We'll see you tomorrow.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of The Torchwood Report is next, after the news, on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 8th, 2017. Silver is trading at $18.12 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,350 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5.5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $4,618. Antiwar.com reports despite Russian opposition already having effectively killed the chances of a total oil ban on North Korea being enforced, the U.S. is still pushing the plan at the UN Security Council. It's not just a ban, however. The U.S. wants permission to militarily enforce it. The resolution includes broad language allowing the U.S. Navy and Air Force to capture and board North Korean ships at sea and to use all necessary measures to force them to reveal